I got something to admit. I met a man out in the sticks, a good old miss. He drove a Series 10 Cadillac and wore a cigar on his lip. Don't you know the devil wears a suit and tie? Saw him driving down the 61 in early July. White as a cotton field and sharp as a knife. I heard him howling as he passed me by. And he said, I know you, young man. I know you by the state of your hands. You're a six-string picker, just as I am. Let me learn you some, I know a few tunes to make all the girls dance. Don't you know the devil wears a suit and tie? I saw him driving down the 61 in early July. White as a cotton field and sharp as a knife. I heard him howling as he passed me by. Oh, foolish, foolish was I. Damn my foolish eyes. Is that man's lessons had a price? Oh, sweet price. My sweet soul, everlasting, a very own eternal life. Don't you know that the devil wears a suit and tie? I saw him driving down the 61 in early July. White as a cotton field and sharp as a knife. I heard him howling as he passed me by. Well, the devil wears a suit and tie. I saw him driving down the 61 in early July. White as a cotton field and sharp as a knife. I heard him howling as he passed me by.
Welcome to Downpour Radio, everybody. I am your host, Lightning Luke, as always. Thanks so much for joining us. It's Western Wednesday here on DPR, and that means we'll be playing Western and Western sounding and Western-inspired music for the next 2 hours. Thanks so much for coming here, everybody. We really appreciate it. The Devil Wears a Suit and Tie by Coulter Wall. That's what we led off with. And up next, we're going to play a classic tune for you. This is a little bit of Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys playing Karina, Karina. You're hearing it here on DPR.
No loving since you've been gone. Oh, Corina. Yes, Leon, swing out, boy, swing out. I love Corina, tell the world I do. I love Corina, tell the world I do. Just a little more love and let your heart be true. Heart be true, yeah. All good.
Karina by Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys. We appreciate you listening to DPR, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Western Wednesday. We're going to keep things rolling here. In the first hour of the shows, we try and give you some of the best selections from Western and Western sound and music. And up next, we're going to listen to a little bit of Possessed by Paul James. Pills Beneath Her Pillow by Possessed by Paul James. And we'll be hearing a couple more tracks after that as well. You're listening to it all right here on this Western Wednesday edition of Downpour Radio.
Dime store poets playing in South Austin tonight. Oh, they're wet with those strawberry hands, and they're reckless, oh baby, so weary with those words, all those words below their pillow. Oh, they're reckless, and baby, so weary with those words, all those words below their pillow. Or it keeps them from falling asleep. Or it keeps them from falling in love. Yeah. Everyone always searching for love. Everyone always fighting for love. Everyone always killing for love. Oh, and baby, oh, I'm dying tonight. Oh, baby, oh, I'm dying, that's right. Go and walk and say. Oh, yeah. Oh, go ahead. Painted lady in the only well-lit bar. Oh, she's lighting up her last cigarette, and she's reckless, oh baby, so weary with those pills, all those pills below her pillow. Oh, she's reckless, and darling, oh so weary. Too many pills, all those pills below the pillow. And it keeps her from falling asleep. Yeah. Or it keeps her from falling in love. Falling in love. Everyone always looking for love. Everyone always fighting for love. All of us, oh, we're killing for love. And baby, oh, I'm dying tonight. Oh, baby, oh, I'm dying tonight. Yeah. Go ahead. Old-faced man with shadows on his mind. Well, he's wondering, tell me what went wrong. Oh, he feels reckless, he feels so weary with those guns, all those guns below his pillow. He feels so reckless, he feels so weary with those guns, all those guns below his pillow. Oh, it keeps us from falling in love. Yeah. Oh, it keeps us from falling asleep. Yeah. Everyone always looking for love. All of us, oh, we're praying for love. Well, help me please, well, I'm killing for love. Oh, and baby, oh, I'm dying tonight. Do it again. Well, mother, won't you help me with love? Well, Father, won't you bring me some love? Oh, help me, Jesus, I am dying for love. Oh, and yes, oh, I am crying tonight. Oh, yes, oh, I'm crying tonight. Walk down, go ahead.
Men came here and they dug their hole, drained the entire night sky to the ground below. Stars down there, oh, they shine like gold. Yeah, the money shines like pennies at the company store. Shore in your shovels, clean your gun, feed your horses on apples, make sure the whiskey's done. I laid the wire, I set the clock, boy, did I fly. Heard the Tommy knockers laughing when the blast filled up my eyes. Touched our eyes, the alarms woke the children for the sun spilled in the sky. I did a dance, I sang a song, I drank a few, laughing at the bastard's money now buried in its tomb.
Been a long, dark time. Now I see the light. It's been a long, dark time. It's been a long, hard fight. It's been a long, dark time. Now I see the light. It's been a long, dark time. Lord, it's been a long, hard fight. Been a long, hard fight. steals my eyes so I can't see. Air so thick I can barely breathe. My joy it goes all flying. There's nothing left but sorrow. Every night when I lay down I pray it'll all be done tomorrow. Be done tomorrow. I've been down so long, feel I just can't stand. I've been down so long, Lord, I need a helping hand. I've been down so long, Lord, I feel I just can't stand. I've been down so long, Lord, I need a helping hand. 'Cause my life has been in shambles, my fortune has taken flight, my lover has lost faith in me, there is no end in sight to the misery I feel, alone and so ashamed. I've been down so long, Lord, I can't take no more pain. 'Cause I need some luck, I need some love. I raise my hands to the skies above. I need some hope, I need a sign, something just to ease my worried mind. My worried mind. It's been a long, dark time. Now I see the light. It's been a long, dark time. Been a long, hard fight. It's been a long, dark time. Now I see the light. It's been a long, dark time. Lord, it's been a long, hard fight.
Long Dark Time by Loulou and the Black Sheep. You're listening to it here on this Western Wednesday edition of Downpour Radio. Before that, we heard a little bit from Clyde and the Mill Tailors, minor song off of their EP Folklore that came out last year. And we heard a little from the new Possessed by Paul James album as we listened to Pills Beneath Your Pillow before that. All of that here on this Western Wednesday on Downpour Radio. We appreciate you tuning in. And up next, we're going to keep the music flowing with a little bit of Lost Dog Street Band. This is Hell's Canyon, and we'll play a couple more after that before we reconvene here on Western Wednesday here on DPR.
The Hell's Canyon is where I am bound. Oh, it's where I will lose and where I'll be found. Where the mighty Snake River runs free and runs clear, and the mountains stand tall for all men to fear. My soul is the devil's, oh, and he owns the deed. And I'm bound to Hell's Canyon for eternity.
beaten by forlorn shame and fate. A fiery throne made of sinners' bones turned away from heaven's gates, forever damned to build upon his hate. Steadfast with intention to build his empire high, rising for his name and for his nation and fighting for his pride. Yes, it was his final judgment day when he fell from heaven to get himself a piece of the pie. Oh yes, he fell from heaven to get himself a piece of the pie. With reckoning upon them, the angels stand their ground. The beating drums and the smell of sulfur rising from the sound. Well, now is not the time to turn away. Onward into battle, for years and years they played a game of chess that has no end and no one walks away. Well, yes, it was their final judgment day when they fell from heaven to get themselves a piece of the pie. Oh yes, they fell from heaven to get themselves a piece of the pie. Hey!
Sky Burning Red, you heard it here on Downpour Radio. That is by Barefoot Surrender. Thanks so much for listening to this edition of Downpour Radio. It's Western Wednesday here on DPR. We got a couple more songs to play until we get to stretch time here on Downpour Radio, but a little housekeeping in the meantime. You may be wondering who's playing our happy hour tomorrow, and the fact is, it's me. It's yours truly. I'm going to be playing all the way through my album Volume 2. I haven't ever really done that, and so somebody challenged me to do it, said they didn't think I could do it, and we're going to find out if they were right or not tomorrow, as I'm going to see if I can make my way through all 15 songs on that album, and it'll be about an hour performance, so the longest happy hour we've had yet on DPR, but you're definitely going to want to tune in for that and enjoy that either here or over on Facebook, and we're going to start announcing some of the other people playing our happy hour as we've begun to book beyond this month and into the summer, which we're pretty excited about as we continue to adapt here with the quarantine and such, whether the quarantine is still a literal one or not where you happen to be. In terms of what the scientists are saying, we're all still in quarantine, so we're paying attention to that here on DPR and trying to keep you entertained, and we're going to keep doing that for the next couple songs till we get into stretch time here on Downpour Radio. Up next, we're going to hear a little bit from the Jack Maybe Project. This is Sympathy from the Devil to get a little bit of horns in on your life here. This is Weary Bones and Witchcraft off that album, Weary Bones and Witchcraft. The track is called Sympathy from the Devil, the Jack Maybe Project. You're hearing it here on Downpour Radio.
Here's where I find you at the slightest mistake, alone in the space which we create. But I see you shaking, alone and afraid. I stand beside you, we'll watch the same damn parade.
She was born from the ashes of the broken. She was forged by the fires in the sea. She was cut from the diamonds that rained down from kaleidoscope skies in the breeze. She was the daughter of the Saviour, the one who'd forsaken me. She was everything I lust for, but her and I were never meant to be. Whoa. Well, a woman had a way with her words, and when she spoke, she never made a sound. 'Cause her voice of thunder shook the mountains, would bring this whole damn world to the ground. She was the daughter of the Saviour, the one who'd forsaken me. She was everything I lust for, but her and I were never meant to be. Whoa. Couldn't find a way to hold her, and life couldn't bear to keep her around. Heaven and hell both decided they had to find a way to bring her down. She was the daughter of the Saviour, the one who'd forsaken me. She was everything I lust for, but her and I were never meant to be. Whoa. She was the daughter of the Saviour, the one who'd forsaken me. She was everything I lust for, but her and I were never meant to be. Were never meant to be. Ashes of the broken. She was forged by the fires in the sea. She was cut from the diamonds that rained down from kaleidoscope skies in the breeze.
Well, folks, we're coming into stretch time here on Downpour Radio, and we went ahead and threw that little intro in there for you, and it wasn't quite what we were expecting. But thanks for listening to Downpour Radio, everybody. That last track you heard before our little intro there that we played from Cullen Wade, we'll play that track a little bit later for you. Maybe we'll play it out with it tonight. But that was the Tejon Street Corner Thieves playing Never Meant to Be off of their upcoming EP, which comes out in just about a week, a little over a week. We're really excited for that. But that was the 10th track of the day, which means it's stretch time here on Downpour Radio, and we are going to play a version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game in just a little bit. But first, we're going to check in with our Lotte Giants in the Korean Baseball League. They fell in a thumper last night as the Samsung Lions bounced back from scoreless night to beat the Lotte Giants last night by a score of 11-1. That was not one that we're really going to try and remember here on Downpour Radio, but hey, we gotta stick with them through all the highs and all of the lows as well. And we're gonna play a version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game for you here during stretch time as we invite you to stretch your legs and stretch your fingers. And then after that, we're going to get into a new series that we're doing here, or not really series, but just a new thing we're doing on Downpour Radio. We're gonna play you uninterrupted music until the top of the hour, and that's gonna happen every day here on Downpour Radio. Once we get to stretch time, I'll just keep the music flowing so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy things after you've had a nice long stretch, and let your friends know that we've got an hour and 17 minutes left on the show, and we're going to be listening to a lot of Buzz Martin. We're going to listen to a full Buzz Martin album in the second half of the show and talk a little bit more about who he was and why he's important to play here on Western Wednesday on DPR. But in the meantime, here's Steve Goodman playing Take Me Out to the Ball Game during stretch time on DPR.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, so it's root, root, root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. It's root, root, root for the home team. And if they don't win, what else is new? And it's 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out at the old ball game. Play it, Jethro.
I'm going there to see my mother. She said she'll meet me when I come. Up in the fields, they're just beyond me. Those songs of team, they're just me. I'm going there to see my mother. She said she'll meet me when I come. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home. I'm only going over Jordan. I'm only going over home.
What if I told you I had a burning desire to kiss you right on the lips? Would you join me in bringing us higher, or would you leave me down in the pits? 'Cause I'm a little uncertain, I just don't know what's coming next. I used to be proud, but I ain't too sure. You got me like a kitten hanging off of your yarn. I wonder if I told you that you should be mine, would you marry me? But I can't tell by the look in your eyes if you'd rather bury me. Well, I used to be charming and I used to be cool. Whatever happened to me? Now I feel like a boy that just dropped out of school, and now you're running from me like the fire alarm. What if I said that I would give you my word and you could have my heart? Would you accept or would you defect, or would you say the choice is too hard? You don't have to say no, you don't have to say yes. I wouldn't expect any less. You were always unable to finish a game of chess, and now you're thinking that I'm simply your pawn. I don't know what to tell you if you came back my way. Would you say hello? Or would you pretend to have never met me? If so, that's the way that it goes. 'Cause I used to be handsome and I used to be lean. I was sharp as a tack. But this yearning for me, you never had any knack. And now you're talking like a farmer saying, get off my lawn.
Down for Mr. Vulture, oh well, he's a good friend of mine. Well, he's got a bottom, oh well, if you've got the time. I've known him a good while, he's always been there for me. Whether we're drinking, dancing, smoking, digging dirt. And he says, I've been around for longer than you know, and I've met folks from all around of me. There just ain't a lot of me. There just ain't a lot of me on them bones. Yeah, we've seen these so well. We've seen the West. I guess he'll tell you about the rest. He likes watching hummingbirds. I guess he wants something sweet. Well, I wish we could live on that sugar water, brother. It wasn't meant for you and me. 'Cause I've been around for longer than you know. I've met folks from all around the globe. But brother, you're alright. There just ain't a lot of me. There just ain't a lot of meat. Oh well, there just ain't a lot of meat on them bones. Well, you speak of some sort of hunger standing out in that thunder. Well, brother, I'm hungry too. Oh well. And reality is such a fickle thing. Oh well. Just rest easy on that bottle, brother. I'll watch over you. Well, there just ain't a lot of meat on them bones.
One, two, 3, 4. Yes, why can't I, Lord? Why can't I? Everyone's out there having time with their smiles. Now don't understand why I'm so upset. Thinking it'd be to ease my head, 'cause everyone's out there having time. But why can't I? Yes, other day get something to eat and I paid $8 for Ace Street. And as soon as I get it in my hand, had it rolled on the floor all across the land. Yes, everyone's out there having a time. But why can't I? All right, yes. Why can't I, Lord? Why can't I? Everyone's out there having time with their smile. Now don't understand why I'm so upset. Thinking it'd be to ease my head, 'cause everyone's out there having a time. But why can't I get Luke?
Off to work, gonna be late. This next time gonna see my face. Fuck you, boss, I'm out the door. Don't gotta be on your payroll. Everyone's out there having a time. Why can't I?
Why can't I, Lord? Why can't I? Everyone's out there having time with their smiles. And I don't understand why I'm so upset. Thinking it'd be to ease my head, 'cause everyone's out there having a time. But why can't I now? All I do is moan. There's no missed calls on my telephone. Let's go downtown and find a dive with a few more beers and I won't be crying, 'cause everyone's out there having a time. But why can't I? Yeah. Why can't I, Lord? Why can't I? Everybody's out there having time with their smiles. Now don't understand why I'm so upset. Thinking it'd be to ease my head, 'cause everybody's out there having time. But why can't I? Here we go.
folks, that was King String playing Why Can't I? Off of his brand new album, The Second Coming. You can hear that anywhere where music is streamed. We've come to the top of the hour here on Downpour Radio, and we appreciate you tuning in. Today's edition of Downpour Radio was brought to you by Jalapenos. Whether you need something nice to put in your windowsill or you want some spice to kick up your meal, Jalapenos are there to spice up every day and are proud to present today's edition of Western Wednesday on DPR. And we have a special treat for you up next, as we've been trying to play full releases here on Downpour Radio as much as we can and give you the music in the artist's intended format. And we're going to do that with a little bit of Buzz Martin here. You may not have heard of Buzz Martin, but you're about to hear quite a bit from him. Buzz Martin was known as the Singing Logger in the Northwest. He was also known as the Johnny Cash of the Northwest, though he was not nearly as popular. Excuse me, I knocked my mic off there. He moved to the Northwest and ended up working as a logger and singing songs as a hobby in the side. And when he was off of work, he would go straight from logging to playing shows in country clubs around, not country clubs, but country music clubs, we should say, honky tonks in the Northwest. And like we said, he was called the Johnny Cash of the Northwest. And he wrote some really fantastic songs that are very reminiscent of a lot of the Union songs of fellow radicals like Utah Phillips, but these songs are a little bit more country. They're much more honky-tonk, and they really fit right in with what we're doing here on Western Wednesdays. And there's one line I want to make sure you listen out for. It's a few tracks into this, because we'll play this whole album for you, but about halfway through you'll hear a track called Hoot Owlin' Again. And when you get to that one, you'll hear a very interesting tale about Smokey the Bear. I want you to listen to that one. It's pretty funny. A good line in there. There are lots of jokes mixed in with the music here on Buzz Martin's album, which is called Where There Walks a Logger, There Walks a Man / a Logger's Reward. It is a double album that came out years ago but was re-released in 2005. Let's give it a listen here. Some Buzz Martin, the Singing Logger. We're going to give you some of them here on Downpour Radio. Thanks for listening here, and we'll meet back in a little while. This is a pretty long album, so buckle up, but we'll be back here before the end of the show to play one last track for you and play it out here on Downpour Radio. Buzz Martin, the Singing Logger, playing Where There Walks a Logger, There Walks a Man, and A Logger's Reward, the double album that you're about to hear right here on this Western Wednesday edition of DPR.
If you want a real experience and care to test your luck, just go out and buy yourself a used log truck. You can pick one up off of most any lot. Nothing down, mortgage everything you got. Then you get your permits and your PUCs, and you feel like a king, about as tall as the trees. The world's a ripe cherry, ready for you to pluck, 'cause at last you've got your own used log truck. Well, things start happening that you didn't count on. She comes all unglued and your money is gone. So what you do then is go into town and establish credit in a few places around. You're a businessman now, and with any kind of luck, you can pay 'em off quick with your used log truck. Then you and the head loader go a couple rounds, and he gives you 3,000 feet that weighs 80,000 pounds. Now, the scaler's a crank, deaf and dumb, got bad eyesight and an extra long thumb. The weigh station's open, just your rotten luck. There goes the next payment on your used log truck. Then you start blowing tires faster than you can count 'em, so you charge a new set, and when you have the man mount 'em, you feel kind of bad about the bill you just made, 'cause your fuel bill there is only half paid. But you smile and assure him he won't get stuck, 'cause you can get rolling now with your used log truck. When you do get the haul, you work on it all night, Pretty soon, you and your wife have a fight. She don't understand, it's just gotta be. She says you love that truck more than the kids and me. She cries a lot lately and complains and howls when you wipe your greasy hands on her new white towels. The wash machine is broke, the dryer motor's stuck, and so are you with your used log truck. You got a big grocery bill and you're behind on your rent. Before you get $1, it's already spent. Finally, there comes that sad, sad day when the finance company comes and drags it away. Bankruptcy then is the only way out. Man, you thought you'd never take that route. You go back to driving for a big outfit, probably the same one you up and quit. One thing about it, at the end of the day, you get out of that rig and just walk away. You go home to Mama, she's happy again, 'cause at last you got a steady check coming in. But you think about your truck and your mouth gets dry and a little bit of moisture forms in your eye and a lump comes up in your throat and gets stuck from all the memories of your used log truck. In high lead logging, your whistle punk is a little guy that sets out on the stump and blows in the signals to the yarder engineer. And your hook tender is the boss. This is the story of a little guy that was a whistle punk, and he wanted to be a hook tender in the worst way, and I guess in his own way, he finally made it. Whistle Punk Pete, he stood only 5 feet. He wasn't gonna get any bigger, but his main ambition was to hold a position of hook tender and head rigger. But everybody knew that unless he grew, he wasn't ever gonna make it. It takes a pretty big man that's an all-around hand. There's hardly any way you can fake it. You put a block and a strap on the little Pete's back, he'd head in the wrong direction, making new layouts and pulling haywire. He couldn't even pull one section, but he could climb all right. Didn't mind the height, but when he got to the top, oh golly, he was too small to tackle a guy line shackle. He couldn't even hook up a molly, but he was running around with a gal downtown. She was fat, but kinda pretty, and we heard one day that they'd ran away, got married in a nearby city. He was happy with his wife, she was the love of his life. She had such a sweet disposition, but Whistle Punk Pete didn't know at the time she'd help him realize his ambition. 'Cause his little wife Myrtle wore a full-length girdle and had 23 hooks and eyes. Took a full half hour to hook her up every morning, much to little Pete's surprise. Well, he was hooking and thinking, his eyes began to blinking. He jumped up and let out a squall. He said, Myrtle, holy cow, if the crew could see me now, I'm a hook tender after all. If you're ever in some logging town and you meet one on the street, you're gonna think there's the meanest man anybody'd want to meet. But when you really get to know one, that's when you'll understand.
Where there walks a logger, there walks a man.
I've seen 2 loggers stand toe-to-toe and slug it out in a free-for-all fight. And when it was over, they'd get up and shake hands and laugh and drink together the rest of that night. I've seen a logger pick up a baby bird and put it back into its nest. And I've never heard one criticizing a man when he knew he was doing his best. They're a rough, rowdy breed of people, but it's a rough life they live. And most of the time their job's demanding just a little bit more than they can give. They come home at night so doggone tired, bruised and cut and sore. Get up next morning with a big old grin and go right back out for more. To the same steep, muddy hillsides they were cussing the day before.
Where there walks a logger, there walks a man.
I think a logger loves his family just a little bit more than most men, as he knows if he makes just one mistake, he'll never get to see him again. Oh, a line could break or a tailhold slip and cut a man half in two. The dangers there lurking everywhere, and the rewards are just all too few. But it's a life he chose, and whichever way it goes, his family will understand. Because when he walks in through that door, they know that there walks a man. Loggers don't sit around much discussing church, religion, or prayer. But a wise man once said, if you ever get to heaven, you'll be surprised who you run into there. And when the last trumpet's been sounded, all of life's secrets unfold, we'll find more than one set of cork boot tracks on those streets that are solid gold.
Where there walks a logger, there walks a man.
I remember one time this guy come up from the south somewhere, got a job setting chokers on the high lead side. And after a while he come in one night and had everything thrown over his shoulder, and this is just about what he had to say. Well, I'm sick of setting jokers in this doggone rain. I got everything to lose, nothing to gain. I'm plumb sick of climbing these steep hillsides. Well, the seat of my brand new britches is slack. I think I got moss growing on my back, and I'm just a little bit homesick too besides. Well, I come up here to these big north woods, try and make a killing. I heard the wages was really good and a logger's life was thrilling. I've been here quite a while and I ain't been thrilled. Couple of times I was darn near killed, and I'm plumb sick of setting chokers in this doggone rain. I got a pair of cork boots and a tin hat to sell. That big hook tender can go straight to town and try to get somebody else to take my place. I'm catching the first train southern bound. Monday morning I won't be around. I guess to high lead logging I'm a plumb disgrace. Well, I come up here to these big north woods to try and make a killing. I heard the wages was really good and a logger's life was thrilling. I've been here quite a while and I ain't been thrilled. Couple of times I was darn near killed, and I'm plumb sick of setting chokers in this doggone rain.
Right here you see on page 23, we gotta close it down.
I'm just a poor old Jippo logger, trying to make ends meet. Got equipment I gotta pay for and a family that's gotta eat. But these guys from the Forest Service, every time they come around, all they do is look for something wrong so they can close me down. These pink-cheeked boys from the Middle East, it's the first time they've seen a tree. Yet they know more about logging than an old timber beast like me. They've gone to college and they've learned how to tie ribbons all around and look up in their rule book for a way to close you down. We gotta close you down, fire danger all around. Right here you see on page 23, we gotta close you down. Right here you see on page 23, we gotta close you down. Somehow I made it through the winter months, fighting mud and sleet and snow. Now good weather's finally here and I ought to make some dough. But the Forest Service is checking me now and you ought to see 'em frown. I bet they already found a dozen ways they can close me down. When them boys live their lifespans out and they meet their judgment day, if they make it on up to heaven, well, I guess they'll be okay. But if they go the other direction, they'll take one look around and say, Satan, look at the fire danger. We gotta close you down. We gotta close you down. Fire danger all around. Right here you see on page 23, we gotta close you down. Right here you see on page 23, we gotta close you down. Well, I'm standing here in line just a-waiting to sign for my unemployment compensation. And what puzzles me is that our economy is booming across the rest of the nation. Well, they tell me we'll get back to logging about June, and there'll be lots of jobs again. But what I haven't paid for will go right out the door. It's dough, meat, and beans till then. And the longer I stand here, the less I pine for these things in life. I gotta stand in line for, and what causes me my most aggravation is drawing unemployment compensation. I make $44 a day once a week when I turn in my little white book. They ask me silly questions, they make unfair suggestions, and they give me a suspicious look. I say nope, I didn't have any earnings last week, and yes, I'm a-looking for work. They act real funny like it was their money and I was some kind of a jerk. And the longer I stand here, the less I pine for these things in life. I gotta stand in line for, and what causes me my most aggravation is drawing unemployment compensation. Hoot-owling again, there ain't no rain in sight. We get off work in the middle of the day and leave in the middle of the night. We stop at the tavern and drink up some beer and sit around and gripe and complain. You just give an old logger a little good weather, you got him hoot-owling again. Well, the poor old logger's overworked, underfed, and absolutely misunderstood. After wallering around in the mud all winter, a little sunshine looks good. But the woods gets dry and the temperature high and the humidity gets low. And that old east wind blows up through the draw. There's one thing for certain we know. We'll be hoot-owling again, hoot-owling again. There ain't no rain in sight. We'll get off of work in the middle of the day and leave in the middle of the night. We'll stop at the tavern and drink up some beer and sit around and gripe and complain. You just give an old logger a little good weather, you got him hoot-owling again. old Smokey the Bear, he's around everywhere with his shovel and his ranger hat. Now I'm not knocking no fire prevention, I wouldn't want you thinking that. But Smokey don't have to do no hoot owling, he's got no worries or cares. And I don't think bears prevent forest fires, but forest fire do prevent bears. And we're hoot owling again, there ain't no rain in sight. We'll get off of work in the middle of the day and leave in the middle of the night. We'll stop at the tavern and drink up some beer and sit around and gripe and complain. You just give an old logger a little good weather, you got him hoot owling again. Well, my buddy called me up on the telephone. He said, come on over tonight. I just bottled up a batch about a month ago. It ought to be just about right. While we sit around a drinking and lying to one another till I guess about 1 or 2. Man, you don't know what a hangover is till you get one from drinking homebrew.
Man, you don't know what a hangover is till you get one from drinking homebrew.
We've been trying to make a decent batch of that brew for such a long time now. But each one seemed a little worse than the last. You'd think we'd finally learn how. We got the recipe from a logger. Let me tell the story to you. Ever since that day we've been trying to make one decent batch of homebrew.
Man, you don't know what a hangover is till you get one from drinking homebrew.
Well, my buddy and me, we was just 19 and the back of our ears still damp. When we moved up 48 miles from town and went to work in this logging camp. Them old loggers kept a crock in the corner that stunk to the heavens blue. And gathered around that pot-bellied stove, we tasted our first homebrew.
Man, you don't know what a hangover is till you get one from drinking homebrew.
Them old loggers, they'd drink that brew until some went out of their mind. A couple of the others, they turned on their brothers, and one of them went stone blind. But we kept on a-sipping and sampling until one day we finally knew that we was just as bad as the rest of those guys. We was hooked on that old homebrew.
Man, you don't know what a hangover is till you get one from drinking homebrew.
Everything was okay until one day when we helped them clean out their truck. They was somebody's old long-lost suspenders and a halfway wore-out sock. They was gnats and bugs and mosquitoes and flies and I guess a bed bug or two. They just laughed and said that adds a flavor to a logger's old homebrew.
Man, you don't know what a hangover is till you get one from drinking homebrew.
They just laughed and said that adds a flavor to a logger's old homebrew. Every year the company throws a big annual party, like big companies everywhere. Lots of free food and lots of free booze, it's a great big happy affair. They don't invite us loggers to the office for a drink, they know that'd be a mistake. They have everybody gather at the old truck shop, there ain't much there we can break. You take a bunch of ornery loggers, especially when the booze is free. They just try to outdrink one another, I guess. It sure is a sight to see. Well, they'll be arm bending, upend and hand gripping, ear flipping, tin hats sailing around. Well, they'll be chug-a-lugging, shoulder slugging, joke telling, laughing, yelling, nobody wearing a frown. They get to calculating, speculating, aggravating, agitating each other constantly. Then the shop will get to ringing, 'cause they'll all start singing, everybody in a different key. Then the boss gets to looking pretty sour pretty soon. Same thing every year. He said, you guys just make a big mess out of things. There'll be no more booze around here. But pretty soon he's laughing and joking with us all. He knows he's got a lot of good men. And as sure as another year rolls around, we're gonna have a party again. And there'll be arm bending, upending, hand gripping, ear flipping, tin hats sailing around. There'll be chug-a-lugging, shoulder slugging, joke telling, laughing, yelling, nobody wearing a frown. They get to calculating, speculating, aggravating, agitating each other constantly. Then the shop will get to ringing, 'cause they'll all start singing, everybody in a different key. Different songs, too. And everybody in a different key. Everybody in a different key. Everybody in a different key. Almost every logger that I've known has had a Model A sometime or other in their life, so we thought we'd throw this one in for you. Nearly everybody's got a souped-up Beetle, and they're looking for someone to drag. My old clunker might be classed as a junker, but I'm still gonna stand here and brag. It's been called a lot of names I can't repeat here, but what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't trade it. Henry Ford made it, and he called it a Model A. An Impala load of boys said, "What's that noise? It sounds like you ain't going far." I said, "That's $3,000 you hear jingling in my pocket, the difference in the price of our cars." And they had no more to say, they just went on their way. And I had to sit there and laugh, 'cause I didn't really have $3,000, I only had $1.50. But the gal's all aching to be asked to be taken for a ride in my Model A. It's a nice night to spoon, there's a big round moon, and I've got a whole week's pay. Well, coming home late tonight, I bet I run out of gas on a back road along the way. If I work it just right, I get some loving tonight in my little old Model A. Well, your pink Cadillacs and your GTOs, they really get out and go. But you can't keep them going with a chunk of baling wire and some parts from an old radio. And try putting bacon rind in a burnout bearing and going merrily on your way. We just as well face it, they could never replace it, the little old Model A. And the gal's all aching to be asked to be taken for a ride in my Model A. It's a nice night to spoon, there's a big round moon, and I've got a whole week's pay. Well, coming home late tonight, I'll bet I run out of gas on a back road along the way. If I work it just right, I get some loving tonight in my little old Model A.
Last night I dreamed I was called by my Lord, and I got a glimpse of every logger's reward.
Last night I dreamed I lost my life in a logging accident. And for a while I wasn't sure which direction I'd went. And then an angel appeared before me and said, "We've been waiting for you. There's a logging operation up here that we just like to show you through." And I thought, I must not be in heaven. This is just some sort of a devil's trick. Till he showed me the crew bus, a phantom Rolls Royce with carpets 2 inches thick. And then he introduced me to the woods boss, and I asked him man to man, "If we're in heaven, why do we have to work? I don't quite understand." He said, "You know how it is with loggers. If they can't log, well, they'd all be bored. So we decided to give you a glimpse of every logger's reward." Well, they were flying pure gold chokers. They wouldn't kink and the bells wouldn't clog. And they wouldn't wrap around your neck and legs when he was trying to hook a log. The ground wasn't steep, and that big hook tender, instead of being mean, was shaking hands with all his crew and telling them they were the best men that he'd ever seen. The yarder engineer and grapple operator were even smiling that day. And I knew that this must be heaven as I turned to walk away.
Last night I dreamed I was called by my Lord, and I got a glimpse of every logger's reward.
Then he took me down to the truck shop, where I really got a surprise. Because the master mechanic was praising all of the truck drivers right there before my eyes. And the truck boss and the drivers and mechanics, nobody called anybody a bad name. And when the owner come in and asked about a breakdown, well, they all tried to take the blame. Then he took me down to the office, and I met the bookkeeper there, and got a bigger surprise than I'd got that day anywhere. He was checking the time books and telling the owner, well, these loggers are all underpaid. If at the end of the month, every one of them hasn't made twice the money I've made. And then the angel said, it's time that I showed you our big company bulletin board and all the loggers we expect in the next few years to come and claim their reward. That board reached into the sky with no beginning or no end, and I recognized the names of so many of my relatives and friends. Oh, there was Woosleys, Olses, and Thistles, and even some of my brothers. Bales, Smallwoods, and Hams, mixed in with all the others. I recognized the names of world champions that I'd had the privilege to know as I'd traveled around the country to each big logging show. There was Hap Johnson, Mal Harper, Dwight Carpenter, and there was Stan Lyons too. And I knew it'd be impossible to read that whole list through. But I tried, and on down the list there a ways, I saw the name Buzz Martin. It was just below Finley Hayes. And then my dream started fading out on me, and I could no longer even see the bulletin board. But I knew I'd been shown a glimpse of every logger's reward.
Last night I dreamed I was called by my Lord, and I got a glimpse of every logger's reward.
The scenic back roads running through our forest were built by loggers' sweat, blood, and tears. Hard rock didn't scare them, they could bore right through a mountain. It's a road inspector every logger fears. Let's drink a toast to all the road inspectors. Let's raise our glasses high and wish them health. They hold the future of each logger in the palm of their hand, the difference between bankruptcy and wealth. Just when a logger thinks his road is finished, a road inspector comes up on the scene, digging test holes in the gravel, measuring every turnout, snarling, snapping, growling, being mean. The logger'd like to grab his neck and choke him, but he keeps his cool and knows he'd better smile. If he'd do just what he'd like to do and poke him, he'd rebuild that whole darn road every mile. Let's drink a toast to all the road inspectors. Let's raise our glasses high and wish 'em health. They hold the future of each logger in the palm of their hand. The difference between bankruptcy and wealth. You can just turn on your radio and you'll be bound to hear about some fancy truck driver and how he's scratching gears. But I'd like to tell you about a guy that works hard from day to day. He's a catskin and jibbo logger and he's just trying to make it pay. He gets up in the morning before the sun begins to burn. Build him a half a mile of road to get one lousy turn. The way this guy has to work is a shame and disgrace. On every turn a vine maple limb slaps him across the face. I just wouldn't be a cat skinner for anybody's pay. Must be a lot of better jobs to finish out my days. I've worked in these woods a long, long time and still I'll have to say, just wouldn't be a cat skinner for anybody's pay. I worked with this guy named Thistle and he could make one bucket and jump. Head out after a turn of logs and wind up straddle a stump. The whole crew'd work for hours just to get him on his way. The language we'd be using there I'm not allowed to say. I just wouldn't be a cat skinner for anybody's pay. Must be a lot of better jobs to finish out my days. I've worked in these woods a long, long time and still I'll have to say, I just wouldn't be a cat skinner for anybody's pay. It's springtime again, and I'm homesick for the sights and the sounds that I love. The echo of a chainsaw, the ring of an axe, and a bright blue sky up above. And I'm heading back just as soon as I can and getting out of this city rat race to where things are real and a man can feel the beat of rain on his face. I'm gonna go where cool breezes blow, white waves break on the shore, see my old buddies, find me a job, and get back in the woods once more. And there's a girl there I knew that said she'd be true while I had my big city fling. I'll get right to work and make enough money for a down payment on a ring. I miss the sight of the sun coming up at the start of each new day, and the morning mist as it rolls and twists and moves out down the bay. And while the coffee brews, I'll lace my cork shoes and get ready for a day in the woods, where the work is hard and I can sweat off some lard and get back to feeling good. I've had my fling in the city, and now my belly's full of dirty streets and two-bit cheats with their well-phrased, well-slung bull. I'm tired of the food in the restaurants and the mobs and the city smoke. And if all that ain't enough reason, I'll give you one more. I'm broke. On the back roads and the highways, anywhere there's timberland, you'll find a different kind of breed of a truck driving man. They're the men who haul the timber
From the woods down to the mill, they spend half their life a-hauling down some crooked steep side hill. Then they hit the highway a-blowing smoke with the bark and dirt a-flying. All them cars they'd like to pass, but you don't see them trying. Even the traffic a-meeting him is pulling off the road. They're positive that he's gonna lose about 2/3 of that load. He'll be covered all over with mud or dust, depending upon the season. A big old smile you can see for a mile for no particular reason. If you're in trouble, he'll stop and help any way he can. He's a different kind of breed of a truck driving man. The state cops lay in wait for him to make just one mistake. He'll end up paying the state nearly every dime he'll make. They'll write him a ticket every time for one little misplaced log, while a Greyhound bus goes screaming by like a turpentine dog. And he hits the highway a-blowing smoke with the bark and dirt a-flying. All them cars they'd like to pass, but you don't see them trying. Even the traffic a-meeting him is pulling off of the road. They're positive that he's gonna lose about 2/3 of that load. My wife called the junk man the other day. She was gonna have him haul my pile of truck parts away. Said you'll never need that stuff, and you could use an extra buck, since I came and repossessed your used log truck. He started loading his truck from my precious stack, and I was unloading stuff and putting it back. I said I'll sort out the parts I don't want to throw away. They're probably just exactly what I'll need someday. That mud flap and taillight are okay yet, and I can make that old heater work again, I bet. And as we dug through that pile, I felt kind of sad. Brought back a lot of memories, both good and bad, when I was hauling with the best of them. If I hadn't had bad luck, they would have never repossessed my used log truck. Joe started out like I did, and he made it big. I saw him last week with a brand new rig. I'd like to try it again someday, but that's something I don't want my wife to hear me say. If I mention it, I'd have to get ready to duck, since they came and repossessed my used log truck. The junk man got disgusted and drove off in a huff. He knew I didn't want to part with any of that stuff. My wife was watching from the window. Once she almost came outside. But I guess she didn't want to destroy what was left of my pride. Standing there alone in a slow drizzling rain, I could almost see my old truck once again. I could feel her vibrating as we hit the main road, not even sure she'd make another load. I could see her blowing smoke thick and black, and together we always managed to get there and back. Women don't understand how trucking gets in your blood, and once it's there for good. She just remembers the bad times, all the tough luck, and the day they repossessed my used log truck. This old pile of truck parts are just in the way, and I really do plan to haul them off someday. They're just a bunch of scrap iron covered with grease and rust and mud, since I came and repossessed my used log truck. From deep in the south to the wilds of the north woods I traveled.
There in the tall timber I figured my fortune to make. I was young and my mind filled with visions of being a logger, not once realizing I was making a terrible mistake. These loggers don't talk like most people you find. You'd swear they're from some foreign land. It was never the hard work that I couldn't take. It's their language I don't understand. There were trees they called school marms and tail trees and trees I can't mention. I just couldn't understand half of the things that they said. And them big steel cables they used to pull in the trees with. They had a name for a splice in it that made this poor boy's face turn red. These loggers don't talk like most people you find. You'd swear they're from some foreign land. It was never the hard work that I couldn't take. It's their language I don't understand. My buddy Big Jack had a shiny new Mac. He was known far and wide as a log hauling fool, out there to make every dime that he could. He broke every contract, he broke every rule. Up north Jack had landed a big paying haul. He was a happy, well-satisfied man. He decided to give his wife a phone call, and you might say she upset his entire plan. She said,
I sure miss you, Jack. I wish you were back. I'm glad you decided to phone. There's something that I have been trying to say. I'm tired of being left all alone. And there's gonna be a whole lot of loving going on around our home this weekend, dear. And if you want to get in on any of it, Big Jack, you had better be here.
it didn't take Jack long to park his Big Mac, put his contracts back up on the shelf. I've never saw him so shook up like that, or quite so entirely unsure of himself. He turned over that haul to a buddy named Paul, bought him a long plane ticket instead. There must have been something in the tone of her voice. He believed his wife every word that she said. She said,
I sure miss you, Jack. I wish you were back. I'm glad you decided to phone. There's something that I have been trying to say. I'm tired of being left all alone. And there's gonna be a whole lot of loving going on around our home this weekend, dear. And if you want to get in on any of it, Big Jack, you had better be here.
just a message
from home, sweet home.
Big Jim was a man we were all proud to know. He was a legend in his own time. There was never a log he couldn't get out or a tree he couldn't climb. He was tough as the timber he'd logged all his life, and sort of my hero, I guess. So when he'd tell me something, I'd listen real close and try to do my level best. There was one certain thing that he watched all the time. When the tail blocks were all out and hung, he'd inspect them himself and make sure they were right before the lines were all strung. When that rigging came tight, he'd yell down to me, "Don't just sit on that log like a lump. Keep your eye on things and make sure that tail hold don't get too high on the stump." That got to be his byline, the saying he used for any situation in life, even to people who didn't know what it meant, like the banker and the lawyer and his wife. And when I'd ask his advice, like I always did, he'd just give my shoulder a thump and say, "Son, things will work out okay if you don't get your tail hold too high on the stump." He'd been acting kind of different those last few days. He just hadn't quite been at his best. But after all, he wasn't a kid anymore, and we just all thought he needed a rest. I thought it was odd when we strung out those lines, and he made us all stand in the clear. He said, "Keep out of the way, I'm gonna check that tail hold the one way back in the rear." I wanted to watch him, so I walked down a ways where the ground swelled up into a hump. It's just like him, I thought, to make sure that tail hold is never too high on the stump. Then he stepped back a ways and looked up toward the sky and signaled for the lines to come tight, and the look on his face still haunts me sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night. Then I noticed something I couldn't believe. I waved and I started to shout. That tail hold was slipping. I wanted to warn him, but the words just wouldn't come out. And when those lines came loose, everything in their path was ripped right out of the ground. And there stood Jim looking up toward the sky. He didn't even turn around. When they hit him, they threw him a good 200 feet. He lit close by with a thump. He died in my arms, and his last words were, "I got my tail hold too high on the stump." It was quite a while before I learned the truth, and then it was from his wife. She said, "You see, Jim always wanted to die in the woods where he'd spent most of his life. He had a disease they just couldn't cure, and that's why he acted that way. He made sure no one else would get hurt. You were all well out of the way. He didn't want to die in some hospital bed, and his health had taken a bad slump. And that's why, for the very first time in his life, he got his tail hold too high on the stump." We're the Northwest unsung heroes, the backbone of this land. Where there walks a timber faller, we claim there walks a man. The rigging crew and the sawmill boys are always putting us down, but they can't log 'em and they can't saw 'em if we don't cut 'em down. Strong winds and widow makers, they don't bother us at all. We don't care what the weather's like, if it's winter, spring, or fall. We don't complain if the timber's small or if the ground is steep. Hard work don't scare us, we can lay right down beside it and go to sleep. Fire warden said no smoking, boys, we can't burn up the woods. My partner said try a chew of this snooze, this stuff is really good. I said, "Can you get used to chewing that snoot?" He said, "I hope to shout." I took a big old chew and it turned plumb blue, and they had to pack me out. Strong winds and widow makers, they don't bother us at all.
We don't care what the weather's like, if it's winter, spring, or fall. We don't complain if the timber's small or if the ground is steep. Hard work don't scare us, we can lay right down beside it and go to sleep. These saw repairs, they're getting us down, 'cause every day or two, gotta take the old saw into town and have them put on something new. We get home late a-smelling of booze every time the saw breaks down. It ain't our fault there's a bar beside every power saw shop in town. Strong winds and widow makers, they don't bother us at all. We don't care what the weather's like, if it's winter, spring, or fall. We don't complain if the timber's small or if the ground is steep. Hard work don't scare us, we can lay right down beside it and go to sleep.
Buzz Martin playing all those logger country tunes for you here on your Western Wednesday on Downpour Radio. That brings us right to the end of the show. I hope you really enjoyed that monster of a double album. You can find that on Spotify and anywhere you might listen to music. I would definitely suggest going and listening to it again. Each time I've listened to that album, it just gets even more amazing. I noticed different parts of it every time, and the stories just break your heart, don't they? Thanks for listening to Downpour Radio, everybody. Up to close us out here, and in here again is Cullen Wade and the Waters. We played a little bit of the intro of this track as we were talking after Stretch Time, and we're going to play the rest of it right now for you. Cullen Wade and the Waters playing Death is Quiet off their EP Low Tide, everybody. Thanks for listening to Downpour Radio. I've been Lightning Luke. Have a good one. We'll be back tomorrow with your 2-hour happy hour, and I'll be playing that myself going all the way through Volume 2. But until then, here's Cullen Wade playing Death is Quiet. You've been listening to
Brother has a three-piece suit, top hat, and a gun in his shoe. Some bootleg gin, and he's off again. He's Robin Hood of tomorrow's newsstand. But the bank door was locked, so he kicked it in. The tailor was waiting, double barrel in hand, and he pulled both triggers in. Brother lost his head. Death is so quiet, all you can hear is your mama crying. So death is so quiet, when the devil calls, you can't fight it. Paul was valedictorian, the town envied him and his wife Jane. Shining example, the American dream. White picket fence, the biggest house in the street. But one day, man, Paul came home early, and he found Jan in bed with the local attorney. And he killed them both and hung himself with his leather belt. So death is so quiet, all you can hear is your mama crying. So death is so quiet, when the devil calls, you can't fight it. Joey's sitting at San Quentin, never get the chance to see the baby again. He's got his last meal, but he's too nervous to eat. He's next in line, take the needle to sleep. They walk him in, his last chance to speak.